and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be giving romance recommendations that have the fated mates trope. Hi, hello, how are you? Welcome or welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to a Trope Week and Vlogmas. You guys know I'm posting a video every single day in December. The first week of December, I'm doing Trope Week, which is basically a series I like to do on my channel quite frequently because it's like the third round of it, where I take one specific romance book trope and give you a ton of book recommendations. So that is what we're doing today, and today we're talking all about fated mates. I adore this trope. I am a hopeless romantic at heart, and I think there is nothing more romantic than a soulmate, or like someone, one person or multiple people being destined to be with you. Like, that is just so freaking sweet. I adore it. You see a lot of this in paranormal romances, which is pretty much like all the ones that I'm talking about today. Okay, so the very first one I want to talk about is a monster romance, and it's available on Kindle Unlimited. It is Stalked by the Kraken by Lillian Lark. This one is a short, steamy novella. Our heroine is a witch and a matchmaker. So she reads people's soul threads and can match them with their fated mates. She works at a bathhouse, which is basically where people can book appointments to have like sexual intimacies and interactions, and the bathhouse feeds off of the energy and power that the paranormal creatures give off when they copulate, if that makes any sense. Anyways, our heroine has just recently gone through a pretty bad breakup. She feels like she had met her fated mate, but she thinks that maybe she read the energy wrong because her fated mate rejects her, and now she feels like she can't properly match make other people. She ends up meeting our hero Gideon. He is a kraken. Like, you know, the thing that like sinks ships? Yeah, that's what he is. He's this super powerful creature. He is in town because he collects things for a living, so he finds very rare artifacts and collects them. But during this time, there is a little bit of a mystery going on. There are a group of people that are kidnapping supernatural creatures and selling them to the black market for their powers. So there is a little bit of a mystery element going on. When our hero Gideon sees our heroine, he immediately knows that she is his fated mate. Like, he knows it. He's never had this feeling for anyone before, and he doesn't want to scare her away because he knows that she went through a breakup. Basically ends up making a pact that Gideon will allow her a business to feed off of some of his power because he is super powerful, and of course they end up falling for each other. This book is so spicy. It has tentacles in it, which is just like a real fun, wild time, and I love it. Lillian Lark is a phenomenal author, and I'm so glad that I found some of her novellas to read. Next one is another Lillian Lark book, and that is Three of Hearts. This is a first in a series. This one is a polyamorous romance. It follows three characters: Greg, who is a werewolf shifter, Asa, who is a demon, and then Zephyrin, who is a harpy. So Greg is already in an established relationship with Asa, and he is feeling kind of torn because when he met Asa, he felt like he had found his fated mate. His werewolf told him that that was his mate, but as the relationship continued, his werewolf was still telling him to go out and find another fated mate. Greg is really confused because he's never met another werewolf who has had two fated mates, and he doesn't really know what to do. He doesn't really trust his wolf at this point. And again, this also follows a mystery where there are some men hunting down supernatural creatures and selling them to a black market. In this book in particular, they are hunting harpies, and our heroine is a harpy, so that's the mystery element in there. And yeah, it's a polyamorous fated mates romance between all three of them, and it is just so freaking adorable. I absolutely loved this book. I mentioned this one in one of my videos this week already, but I really like it, and that is Fist Fangs Rival Omega by Ash Moon. It is the first book in the Moonstar Dating Agency series, but it can be read as a standalone. It is an Omega verse series, so it follows werewolf shifters, and the entire series is based on fated mates. So there's this one agency called the Moonstar Dating Agency that is run by a werewolf named Cole, and he has powers of divination where he can read a wolf's energy and spirit and kind of like look into the stars and help a person find their one true soulmate. So that's what the entire series follows. The book that I'm mentioning is the first book, and it follows Desmond and Chasen and is an enemies to lovers romance. So this is a male-male romance. Both of them are professional fighters, and that's how they end up meeting. They're actually rivals, and is an Omega, and the entire fighting circuit that they're in is full of alphas. He's one of the only Omegas, so he definitely feels like he has to kind of like prove his place. He's come from a really tough background, ends up having a little bit of a rival with another werewolf shifter who is in this fighting circuit. His name is Chasen. Desmond, our Omega, he ends up going to this dating agency to find his fated mate, and that is also where Chasen gets brought up again, and everywhere he turns he keeps bumping into Chasen. If you've never read Omegaverse, I do have an entire video where I talk more about it and give recommendations, so I will link that video down below. But this is a good starting point because it's a pretty low angst Omegaverse that will kind of just introduce you to the world. Okay, the next one I want to talk about is another werewolf romance, and that is Wolf Gone Wild by Juliet Cross. This is the very first book in the Stay a Spell series, and it follows Mateo and Evie. This one is kind of like a sunshine grumpy trope. Our heroine Evie is a definite sunshine hero, and then our hero Mateo is more the grumpy werewolf hero. So they end up meeting because Mateo cannot shift. He can't shift. He's having an issue with like his inner wolf, and he is convinced that he is cursed. So he ends up reaching out to Evie, who specializes in breaking curses, and she is a witch. The only thing is that their romance is kind of forbidden because Evie's family notoriously does not like werewolves, and they kind of like made this rule that they will not help werewolves. Mateo meets Evie. He instantly feels drawn to her and knows that she is his fated mate, and she also feels a connection with him and agrees to help him break the curse. So it follows their romance, and honestly, Juliet Cross is such an amazing author. This was such a great introduction to the series. The next book I want to talk about is called Mating the Huntress by Talia Hibbert, and this is a short novella. I think this novella takes place during Halloween time, but you can read it anytime during the year. This book follows Chastity and Luke, and Chastity is actually a werewolf hunter. So her family hunts werewolves and other supernatural creatures, but she is a werewolf hunter that cannot hunt. Her family has banned her from hunting because once upon a time there was a prophecy that her first kill would break her heart or kill her. So her family is just really scared, and it doesn't allow her to hunt werewolves. She really wants to prove herself, and she ends up meeting Luke, who is a werewolf, in the diner that she works at. And Luke is completely and totally enamored with her because, dun dun dun, she is his fated mate. Luke absolutely like worships the ground that Chastity walks on, and he is determined to prove all of her stereotypes wrong. So because she is a werewolf hunter, she thinks really poorly of all shifters and is not perturbed by that, and he takes it as a challenge to just make her fall in love with him, and it's really cute. Talia Hibbert never misses. She writes some of the most amazing books, and this one is no exception. Next one I want to talk about is the Magic of Discovery series by Britt Andrews. Now this is a series that's available on Kindle Unlimited, and you do have to read it in order. This is the Emerald Lake series. It follows Sage, who is a green witch. She is connected to the earth and plants, lives in a very small town called Emerald Lakes, which is how she ends up meeting her heroes. This is a reverse harem or polyamorous romance where it has multiple heroes. I think in total she has like 5 love interests. If you're not familiar with reverse harem, I do have a video on that as well. Shameless plug, I'll link it down below. But it's basically where our heroine has more than one love interest, and she doesn't really have to pick just one guy. In this world, every person has a different affinity, a different power. Like I said, Sage is a green witch, but all of the heroes have different powers. One of them has the ability to control fire. The other has the ability to control thunder and lightning. One is a panther shifter. We have a hero who can read and control minds and memories. All of the heroes work for an agency that teaches people how to control their powers, but it also catches bad guys who are abusing their powers. So our heroes are put on like an undercover secret mission where they're supposed to go to this very small town and find someone that their boss has been looking for a really long time. That's how they end up meeting Sage and are immediately drawn to her. And this does have a fated mates trope. Also has a prophecy where it said that a witch is going to find like her 5 love interests and bring harmony to all of the different types of magical worlds. And this one is so freaking addicting. I just realized like that was one of the only ones that wasn't a werewolf shifter. I know there are a ton of fated mates other than werewolf shifters, but I just really like werewolf romances, okay? Okay. Okay, the last one is another werewolf romance, and that is Wolf Song by TJ Klune. This is the first book in the Green Creek series, and you do have to read the series in order. If you guys didn't know, I'm obsessed with this series. I have so many freaking videos and reading vlogs on this series because it's just the best. TJ Klune knows how to write a romance, let me tell you that. So this entire series are male-male romances with werewolf shifters, and there's also like witches in there as well. So this book follows Ox, who moves into a small town called Green Creek, and the town is really quiet and there's like a mystery about his neighbors. His neighbors turn out to be werewolves. Immediately feels drawn to them, especially their youngest son, Joe. Joe turns out to be the alpha of the pack, and he also turns out to be Ox's fated mate. So there is a bit of an age gap. It's like a 6-7 year age gap. So the relationship really starts off as a friendship. As Joe gets older, it falls into a more romantic relationship, and honestly this one is so freaking well written. It gives you all the feels, but it's also so deeply emotional. Like, I think I cried in every single book in this series. Like, this is one of those series that I think is just perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. I recommend it to everyone. God, I love this book so much. Every book in this series follows Joe's family. All of his brothers have their own romance, and it's just the best. It literally is just the best. I don't know what else to say about it. Guys, those are just 7 fated mates romance books that I wanted to talk about today. I know there are so many more, so I could probably do a part 2, but if you have a fated mates book that you think I should read, leave a comment down below. As always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye!